Representative Labrador, the Ward campaign has circulated a document that you filled out in your 2008 legislative campaign saying you opposed, in Idaho anyway, I mean, that was context, you were running for state office, any state measures dealing with immigration, because you said in the comment section that it was a federal matter. What's changed since you filled that out in 2008?
That's a great question, Dan. Nothing has changed. The problem that the federal government has not enforced the immigration laws. I had some hope that the federal government was going to do something in 2008 and that they would do it. Like I said in my speech, Arizona has right now the strictest immigration laws in the books. They have stricter laws than any other state, and they still have not solved the problem of illegal immigration. I believe if we're going to solve this problem, the three principles that I talked about need to be addressed. You can't just do it by.
I'm sorry, but I think I hear you saying today that you support the move of the Arizona legislature and the governor there to enact this new law. Is that correct, or am I mishearing?
All I'm saying is that I'm not going to tell Arizona what to do, but I don't think it's the solution to the immigration problem. It's not going to solve the problem that we have in America.
And if you won't be, but if you were back, if the federal government hadn't acted by January of 2011, what would your counsel be to the Idaho legislature? Would you support an Arizona-style bill here in Idaho?
You know, I don't know that I agree with everything in the Arizona law, so I would have to look at everything line by line and see if I would agree with everything. But I have supported legislation that would enforce the law against employers. I actually introduced legislation in the state of Idaho that would enforce the law against employers in the state of Idaho. It was rejected, but I have done it. Now, the real solution comes from the federal government. They have failed to act, and they have failed to enact proper legislation. And until they do that, the problem is not going to be solved. Look at California. They've built a fence, and they still have a problem of illegal immigration. This piecemeal legislation is not going to solve the problems that we have right now.
You've been on record as opposing a mandatory use of the E-Verify system as a means of checking to see whether somebody has the legal documents. And that's at the state level. At the federal level, what is the legislative solution to addressing the problem? I mean, beyond sending the military to the borders.
Well, you need to do those 3 points that I talked about. We need to enforce the law, we need to send the military, and we need to have an immigration system that actually works. We need to solve the entire problem, not just solve a piece of the problem. I'm okay with the E-Verify system federally if we make it work. There's things, if you do all 3 aspects of all 3 things that I stated today, I think the E-Verify system is a good, strong system. It's not a perfect system, and in fact, some statements that have been made in the press recently, it's actually where it fails the most is it fails to address the issue of illegal immigration. Because if an illegal alien steals somebody's ID and uses their name, the E-Verify system doesn't tell you that that person is using false documents. And that's the problem that we're having, is that we have one candidate who's just willing to talk about what his handlers tell him in Washington, D.C., and doesn't really understand the issue. And you have another candidate who's actually worked on this issue for 10 years and has actually been studying this issue for 10 years.
What evidence do you have? You said that your opponent might be, or that Von Ward's campaign might be using your ethnic heritage as a means to somehow tear your campaign down. Can you talk a little bit about that? What have you heard? What has he said about your background from Puerto Rico?
Oh, I keep getting emails from his supporters about how I cannot be trusted to enforce the issue of illegal immigration because I was born in Puerto Rico. I keep seeing statements that are being sent back and forth, and I think that's just not appropriate.
Will you make those emails available?
If I can find it. I have seen them. I don't know where they're at, but I have seen emails. There's posts on the web and different things where they keep casting doubt on what I have done as an immigration attorney. In fact, you have received, Dan, a bunch of these emails too, and you have seen them. So I think you have a lot of them available to you.
How much do you think sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How much does our state economy rely on illegal immigrants?
too much, and that's the problem. We need to actually have a system of legal immigration that actually works, just like the Obracero program that we had many years ago and other areas. You have dairies and farms that right now they're looking for legal immigration, and they're not being given the access to actual legal immigrants. So we need to solve that problem, and I think it's a large percentage of our economy.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, it seems that you have a lot of people who the rhetoric is really strong against these illegal immigrants. They come in, they take up our resources, they use our resources, but I guess to what extent do you think that the businesses need to step up and, be a part of this conversation?
Well, I think the businesses do need to step up, but I think we need to also go after the businesses that are violating the law, and that's really clear. And that's been one of the problems over the last 20 years, is that when legal immigration proposals have been brought forward, we don't actually go after the employers. We don't actually enforce the law against the employers, and I do think we need to do that, because they're the ones who are hiring and violating the law. I think a lot of people understand that we have a problem, and I think that's what we need, a system that actually works, and it's currently not working.
So, would you support making E-Verified mandatory at the federal level?
I would if there's a few problems with E-Verify, and I think it needs to be fixed, but I would support it at some point. Once you have a system of legal immigration that works, that would be one of the easiest way to enforce that legal immigration system.
In 2006, there was significant debate about illegal immigration in Idaho in the first congressional district race. And then there was also a proposal in Congress from the president at the time that didn't go anywhere. How does your solution, I guess, beyond sending the military to the border, differ from what Larry Craig and President Bush were talking about in 2006?
One of the things that I have always advocated for at least the last 5 years and possibly the last 10 years is that the people in Idaho and the people in the United States are completely frustrated with the issue of amnesty. They don't want somebody to be rewarded for having entered the country illegally. So I have always advocated that a person who's going to receive any kind of benefit needs to leave the United States first. And that's one of the differences that I've always had with some of the proposals in Congress. That you need to leave the United States first and then apply for legal immigration, for legal entry into the United States. And that's something that I would be pretty firm on.
Should somebody who's worked here, let's say for a decade illegally, but paid money into the Social Security system and paid taxes, should they be able to count on those benefits if under your plan they were return to their country of origin and then apply legally to return to the U.S.?
Those are details that would have to be worked out. I'm not sure about that question.